The holidays are upon us. Thanksgiving is right around the corner, and then it's Christmas and New Year's and all the craziness packed in between. What part of that feels like it's just too much? Just you can't handle anymore. Maybe it's the loud rooms with multiple conversations, all the music everywhere you go, the high expectations, the pressure to be cheerful or to buy the perfect gift. Maybe it's the other side of that. Maybe it's the quiet because loneliness can be overwhelming too. So maybe it's the absence of people, the silence, the lack of family. Is your nervous system already bracing for impact for this holiday season? If that's the case, this episode is for you because we're going to give you some doable, practical, small, grounded steps that you can take to help you navigate and survive this holiday season. Do you want to achieve your goals, but anxiety is tripping you up? Like to keep those fun weekend plans, but depression has you counseling again? Hey, I'm Lori, dog mom, lover of nature, and hygge enthusiast. Positive psychology skills help me overcome chronic severe PTSD. If you're ready to learn how to overcome your anxiety and depression and rediscover happiness and purpose in life, then get your cozy on and let's get started. I am excited to announce a new mini-series that will help you not just survive the holidays, but actually thrive during this time and help make them a little bit more meaningful. So I'm going to be doing a 5, possibly 6-part series on hygge and how to customize that according to your love language. This is going to be fun. So I'm really looking forward to having you join me. We're going to kick this off next Thursday, in a week. We're going to kick this off and we're going to have some fun learning how to couple hygge with your love language and make it personal and meaningful for you. And then we're going to drive that home with how to do it around Christmas. So we're going to have fun. Looking forward to seeing you there. So today we're going to talk about something that not very many people talk about or they won't say out loud. They may be thinking it. In fact, a lot of people think this, but not many people will admit to it. Holidays are overwhelming. There, I said it. Now all you have to do is agree, right? So Thanksgiving is right around the corner. I believe it's next week if I'm tracking it. I'm recording this ahead of time, so I believe it's next week. And right between Thanksgiving and New Year's, we have holiday parties, we have office parties, family parties, we have Thanksgiving itself, we have Christmas itself. If you have a large family that lives close, you may have multiple Christmas celebrations just with your family, plus with all the work people, the church people, your book club, or whoever that may be. Lots of holiday parties, which are fun, don't get me wrong, but they can also be very overwhelming. And so if your body goes into fight or flight during holiday gatherings, if you're already dreading the noise and the expectations and the gift buying and giving, the invitations, if you're feeling disconnected or overwhelmed or just plain exhausted just thinking about this episode is definitely for you. I just want to give you heads up. You are not being dramatic. You are not broken. This is just your nervous system saying, look, we are overwhelmed. There's too much going on. So we're going to help you draw some boundaries, implement some practical steps and tips to help you handle this, some practical ways to do that can help support your nervous system. So we're going to work on building your holiday overwhelm survival guide. So take a deep breath together. And let's begin. The first thing I'm going to give you today for your holiday survival guide, I'm going to give you a holiday hall pass. Remember in high school, they would give you the hall pass so that you had a reason to be in the hallway between classes? This is your holiday hall pass. You are not required to do it all. There you go. There's your permission slip to say no. You are not required to participate in the holidays the way you used to before you had trauma, before you were dealing with anxiety symptoms, before you're dealing with depression, the way that you've always done it before, the way your family may still want you to, definitely not the way social media says you should. You do not have to do this. This is your permission to say no. Overwhelm doesn't happen because you're weak or because you're broken or because you're dramatic. It happens because your nervous system is at capacity. So the very first step is permission to rest. I'm just going to take the night off and sleep, or just to sit by the Christmas tree and enjoy the lights. Permission to say no. You do not have to attend every single party. Permission to step back from traditions that drain you. You do not have to continue to do stuff that makes you feel bad afterwards. Permission to create new traditions that feel safe and peaceful. And this is something my friend and I have been doing for the last few years, and I really enjoy that. One of the things we started doing was the Advent every year, and it's very meaningful, and I love it, and it's very peaceful and low pressure. Come up with new traditions that are meaningful to you. You don't owe anyone a perfect holiday performance. One, perfection doesn't exist, really. But you don't have to do the Pinterest Christmas. You can keep it simple and just basic and have that time just to enjoy the moment and not exhaust yourself in preparation. And approach it with compassion. Understand the limits that you are under, the stress that you're dealing with, the anxiety that you're handling, the depression that you're under, the PTSD that you're handling. Give yourself some compassion for that and some room to handle that. Draw some boundaries around that so that are drawn with compassion for yourself. Understanding that Christmas is going to be different, and that is okay. Now, thankfully, I've been blessed with friends and family, a church family that have been very understanding, but not everybody is. So you may need to just say no and just accept that they're not going to like it, but it's okay. So number 2 is to create sensory boundaries. Now, I've referenced this already, but there is a lot going on around Christmas. We have lights, music, multiple conversations going on at the same time. Smells that can be overwhelming, especially if you're sensitive to those. Crowds. Now, this is one I particularly struggled with, is the crowds I'd feel like something was crawling its way out of my body, just screaming. Expectations that are being put upon you, social acceptable standards or whatever they may be. This can be a lot for anyone. Someone with a perfectly healthy mind and nervous system, etc., can still feel overwhelmed with holiday expectations. But especially one who is shaped by trauma, who is dealing with those anxiety symptoms, who's dealing with depression, this is a lot. So coming up with some sensory boundaries. So one thing you can do is to choose your seat wisely. And this is something I've done. It's very effective and it can really help you. So when I would go to church, sometimes I could barely get myself to walk in the back door because crowds were just so stressful for me. But I would come at the last minute and sit clear in the back. And that way, if I got to the place I could not handle anymore, I knew I could just slip out the back without creating a scene. And I knew that before I ever went through the doors. And that was a safety net for me. So sitting near an exit or on the edge of a group, this gives your brain a sense of control, and you know that you have that quick path to get away from that if you need to. Take micro breaks. This is your second practical tip to do this. So you might need to step outside and just take a breath. Retreat to the bathroom. Here's a good classic. Lock yourself in a bathroom stall and then just sit there for a little bit and breathe. Just take a breath. Maybe you just need to go sit in your car for a minute, or you could just take a short walk down a quiet path, just to kind of give you some space to handle all of that and just breathe for a minute and give yourself a little bit of a breath. And you're not escaping. This is a regulatory strategies. It's ways to regulate your nervous system and help you to be able to handle the sensory overload that you're dealing with. Another thing you could do is to use some tools to reduce noise. So you could put some earbuds in, maybe some noise dampening AirPods. You could use a scarf, earmuffs. There's been times I literally would plug my ears because I couldn't handle the noise. It was just too overwhelming. And some of where I was at my worst was during COVID. So there was times I would just have to turn the sound off because we were doing remote, whatever it was. I just couldn't handle it. So I turned the sound off. So look at reducing the noise that you're being hit with from all sides. Another thing you could do with it to draw some boundaries on the sensory overload is to lower the input. So this is something I have done so much, it's becoming instinctive to me. Go shopping when it's slower. The crowds still bother me to some degree, depending on what's going on. They can still really get to me. So I purposely choose times to do my errands when it's slower. And I will do just about anything I can do to do that. I will go to the store when there's less people. So choose your times for shopping or for whatever you're doing when there's not as much traffic or not as many people going around. So, if you're hosting something, keep it on the simpler side. Choose simple foods, simple decorations, smaller amounts of people. Just keep things simple and low key, and it'll help lower all that stress for you. So, your nervous system thrives on predictability and gentleness, and you're allowed to try to create that during the holiday season. Do what you can. All right, so first was your permission slip, second was sensory overload and how to handle that. And third, we're going to give you some personal calm cues. And these are ways that you can calm yourself down when you're feeling your nervous system just starting to ratchet up. And so it can just be that one sentence that you're using that can help you just take that breath. And one thing I used to tell myself is just keep moving forward. You can do this. Another thing I would tell myself, because I tend to be a perfectionist, is it's okay to not be okay. It's giving myself permission to not be okay in that moment. But you might want to say things like, just take one thing at a time, which is another thing I've often done. I'm safe right now. I can pause. I don't have to absorb everything happening to me. So you can repeat that to yourself over and over until that overstimulation, that pressure begins to relieve yourself. And listen to your body. This is so important to tune into your own body and what your body is telling you, and be gentle to yourself. Treat yourself just like you would your best friend. Don't be negative and talk down on yourself. Be gentle and talk to yourself just like you would your best friend. So let's talk about gatherings for a little bit, especially the ones that feel emotionally complicated. So if you're struggling with social anxiety or you're dealing with family dynamics that are triggering old wounds, here's just a couple tips for you. You don't have to be on all the time. So the crowds really, I struggled with that. So I would find times when I could just retreat to the corner or just walk away for a bit. You don't have to be on all the time. You also don't have to carry conversations. It's okay to be quiet, for one thing. You could just be quiet, or you can just listen. This is a good opportunity to develop good listening skills. Let the other person talk, ask a couple questions, and then just listen. You don't have to have that pressure of carrying the conversation all the time. And you don't have to entertain or perform. Just be yourself. It's okay. And one good tip is to be present with one person at a time. You don't have to try to be present for the entire crowd. Just take one person and that's it. Just one person at a time, and be present with that one person. Be real in that one moment. Have one safe connection with someone. Have one simple conversation. And honestly, it's going to mean more in the long run. So feel free to step away when you need to. But your worth is not measured by your ability to smile through discomfort. You can be real. You can draw those boundaries. You can step away when you need to. Build some real connections with people, but just do it one person at a time. Another thing I want to touch on is if you're feeling lonely this season, and this is something I struggled with quite a bit. I'm single, never married. I do have a lot of really great friends. I live a long way from my biological family. So loneliness during the holiday has been a very real thing for me. Admitting that, saying that out loud can be difficult sometimes because the holidays are all about family, coupling and romance novels or romance stories and romance movies, the Hallmark thing. That's how it's so often depicted, and it can be really difficult during the holiday seasons because of that. It feels like everyone else belongs somewhere except you. Like you're just this odd person out, and it can be very uncomfortable sometimes. Loneliness, please hear me on this. If you're dealing with loneliness, it is not a character flaw. Do you know the feeling of loneliness is actually a biological signal for connection? It's a signal in the brain that is actually telling you that you need to connect with someone. It is not a sign of failure. So there are some ways that you can take care of yourself if the season is feeling quiet or empty. This could be, maybe you're like me and you're single, or you're far from family, or maybe you've lost someone this season and this may be your first Christmas without them, your first Thanksgiving, and it could be really hard. So creating some comforting rituals around that can help you handle that. So one, you can light a candle. You can get your favorite blanket. Now, this is something I really love to do. Play some soft music, drink a warm drink. These are all things that can comfort you when you're feeling distressed. Praying is a great way and actually can remind you the real meaning behind Christmas and connecting with God and remembering what Christ did for us. Walking under Christmas lights, there's a park just down the street that has the most beautiful lit walk during Christmas. I love why it's so peaceful walking there. These moments can soothe the nervous system and remind your body that safety still exists and connection can still exist. Comfort can. And then if you're struggling with loneliness, you can plan one meaningful touch point a week. You might not be able to handle a whole lot, but maybe you can have just a single phone call with someone who means a lot to you. Meet with coffee, for coffee with a friend. Go to a church service. Every year, our church has a beautiful candlelight service, and I love going to that. It's very peaceful. Meet with a support group or a Bible study group or someone who can help you. And another great way is to volunteer, to reach out to someone else. That one of the best ways you can address loneliness and hurt is to help someone else who is hurting. That's a fantastic way to do that. And again, connection doesn't have to be big. It can just be one person at a time, but do your best to make it a real connection. And then let yourself feel. This is the third thing to do with loneliness, is to let yourself feel it without judgment. It's so often that loneliness can feel there's some kind of shame connected to it. I don't always know why, but sometimes you feel like you're not enough or nobody really loves you because that's why you're alone, is because no one really loves you. But that's not true. It doesn't have to be. You're not behind the curve. You're not forgotten. There are people out there who love you, who support you. You're not failing at life. You're just human. And one important thing to keep in mind is that this isn't the end of your story. If you're struggling with loneliness right now, this isn't the end. It's just this page. It might even be a chapter, but there's more to come. You just need to turn the page and start building those connections. And family doesn't necessarily mean your biological family. You can create a family with friends and loved ones that you build on your own. This is something that was really driven home to me when I was in Kuwait. One of the toughest Christmases I've ever had. But I was surrounded with people that had become family, and we ended up having a great time because I was with the family that I made as opposed to the family I was born with. So before we wrap up, I want to give you a quick grounding tools that you can use anytime you're feeling overwhelmed. You could use all of them if you want, or just pick one or two that just really fit well with you. So one is some breathing exercises. And so the one that my counselor taught me that was my favorite, and to me is the easiest to do, is you breathe in for 3 seconds and then immediately exhale, but you do it for 6 seconds. So you don't have to hold your breath. You just breathe in for 3, exhale for 6. And you do this a couple times, and then you breathe normally, and then you go back to doing the breathe in for 3 and out for 6. And you just do that until you start feeling your system calm down. And when you do this for at least like 3 to 4 times, you're triggering your vagus nerve, which feeds every major organ in your body, and it can help your nervous system to begin calming down. Tip number 2 is to drop your shoulders. So lift them up as high as they will go, like close to your ears, hold for a second, and then just release them. And when you do that, it helps some muscles to begin to release and tension to start going away, easing a little bit, and your nervous system can start releasing. And then there's number 3 is your 5-second check-in. So ask yourself, am I safe right now? Just really, I may feel not safe. I may feel overwhelmed, but am I safe? Am I okay? And your body needs to hear the answer to that question. So ask yourself, am I safe right now? And you can even answer out loud, yes, you are safe. You can take a breath. And tip number 4 is to name 3 comforts. Anything that calms your system. So this could be a texture, which I'm very much of a tactile person. So, maybe my comfort blanket, which I absolutely have them, a pillow, fuzzy socks, a cup of hot coffee, whatever that could be. Maybe it's a scent, something that you're smelling. Olfactory senses, super, super powerful and triggering memory. So it could be something that brings back that comforting memory, like the smell of fresh baked pumpkin pie, or a sound that just really brings comfort to your heart. It could be the music, it could be the sound of wind chimes, whatever it is. But remember those three comforting things and then anchor to it. Have something that kind of brings you back to that moment, to that feeling, to that sense that can really help you. One year I was really struggling with seasonal affective disorder, and I found this bar of soap that was scented with citrus fresh, and I would carry this bar of soap around and sniff. I probably look like a complete idiot, but I would sniff this thing when I was feeling really upset, really discouraged, really depressed, really stressed out. I would sniff this bar of soap, and it would help because the smell of citrus is actually a calming scent, and it is also relieves depression. And from that day to this, every winter I have citrus scented soap in my house because it really does help. So I want you to know, I'm wrapping this up here. I want you to know you are not hard to love. You are not being dramatic. You are not being sensitive, and you're not failing at the holidays. Your nervous system is doing its best. It's just a bit overwhelmed. So take a moment, be kind to yourself, use a little bit of wisdom that God expects us to use during this time. You can move through it slowly, move through it intentionally, move through it with compassion, one moment at a time. So thank you so much for joining me today. Take a deep breath, soften your shoulders, and remember, you're doing better than you think. And we'll join you back here next time. Encouragement to join our newsletter every week. We'll be talking about some of those hygge tips with Christmas. You can do that at practicalsolutionsforptsd.grwebsite.com. Hey, my friend, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If so, would you please take 30 seconds and share it with someone you know who may be struggling with depression and anxiety? Also, would you please leave a quick review for the show? Knowing how this podcast is helping you fills my heart with so much joy, and it motivates me for future episodes. For now, it's time for Sam and I to head outside to enjoy some sunshine and fresh air. We'll see you back here on Tuesdays and Thursdays for more great episodes.